Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Sister Show. I am your host, Deborah Mules, and I'm very excited to talk about this topic today because I feel like this is something that everyone can relate to. I feel like everyone can relate to all my videos, well, to some degree, but this one I know everyone can relate to. Why does it feel like time flies when we're adults? So the first thing I wrote on my notes is there are so many things that draw our attention to time and to age. And that is true. There are so many things. And a few things that I wrote down are jobs, the biological clock, peer and societal pressure, shame, age shaming, and technology. And I'm going to go into those more deeply. And I don't think it's right that it feels like time is flying, because in the Bible it says that God has placed eternity into man's heart. And when you have eternity, within your spirit, you feel like you have all the time in the world. So you go at a steady pace. But because we are here on earth for a certain amount of time, we have time, but we don't have time to waste. So where did all this fast-paced nonsense come out? Where did it come from? Who created it? Who said work is Monday to Friday and 9 to 5? Like, who said all these things? But anyway, look at where all this fast-paced nature has gotten us. Now everyone's on antidepressants, anxiety. Some people take cocaine to cope with the pressure. Some people get addictions. I mean, everyone goes to addictions for different things, but as a result of the fast-paced nature of the world and the society and the big cities and everything, there's always a consequence of that. And I believe that's things that cause all these mental health, because some jobs are so demanding that you don't have time to care about yourself, which is so not right, because why are we trading ourselves for an emotionless entity, which is a corporation? So anyway, number one on the list is jobs, and that's jobs in terms of the deadlines that we have. Obviously, when you're so engrossed in a work, obviously time flies, but people are always, like, especially when you get higher up, people are always so engrossed in a particular task that time just flies, and it never feels like we have enough time in a working day. Some people sacrifice their personal life, not me. Some people sacrifice their personal life, and then they don't have time to themselves, and then it's over Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's over and over again. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Some people, Friday, and some people Saturday and Sunday. Jeez, like, it's just never ending. So 3 weeks have gone by, and you're like, what have I done for the past 3 weeks? The same damn thing. But anyway, the second thing under the same topic of jobs is milestones. We feel like, we need to achieve certain things by a certain age, because Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates have set the standard really high. They were both billionaires by the time they were 30, so it's understandable why people want to be billionaires themselves by the time they're 30. But then if you don't have an idea, like a Microsoft or Facebook, sometimes it puts pressure on people to do unspeakable things, or things that you just simply don't want to do. Not that it's illegal, but there's that pressure because you want to get there. You want to get there before 30. You want to get to the billionaire's house before 30. And I would like that too. I'm going to be honest with you. I do have a plan in mind, but at the end of the day, it's God's will that will be done, because I'm trying my best. But if God is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we can ask or think, I don't know where all my hard work is going to take me, but I'm hoping somewhere great. So, jobs. So that's in deadlines and in career milestones, you need to achieve certain things by a certain time in your life. The second thing, and this is mostly for women, is the biological clock. Obviously, we know that we need to have children, by a certain age. If not, it gets difficult or nearly impossible. I won't say impossible finite, because you hear of miracle situations all the time, and a miracle will only happen for you if you believe in it. So if you're looking at this video like, oh, it doesn't exist, for you, that would be a reality. And obviously there's the biological clock, because we know by a certain time we have to have kids. And of course, when you mix that in with the career milestone, we want to have a career. For me, I don't want to have to be in a 9 to 5 and have a kid so that I can beg an employer to give me some hope. I'm choosing my employers based off of who has the best maternity leave, and I have to be worried about I don't want that stress. I want to create an environment myself personally where women can take maternity leave for a time that is, I'll say, good enough. We even supply them with, baby stuff. Pampers and Cerelac and all bottles and bottle warmers and all this. I want to be able to do that. And also, I want to be able to have like a nursery as well in my office building, so that when women, if they want to come back to work early, but perhaps maybe they just don't want to leave their kid because they're not ready yet, there's a nursery. So I wouldn't want them to have their kids at their desk, because that's a very big distraction and the chances of them being productive can be very low. But I want it to be like, they can either have their own nanny come and use the space, or we can have our own in-house nannies, caretakers to take care of the babies. I want to be able to provide for women, because I don't want it to be some new benefit that everyone is applauding these employers for. If these employers genuinely care about innovation and evolution, the way they care about their money and their bottom line, and investing in the next fintech and all these things, then I think these things shouldn't really be out of the question. They all have children themselves, they have wives. These things are not so hard if they put the focus to it. Maybe they haven't thought of it and they need a Deborah Mills. But I think this isn't something that should be introduced in, 5 years time for everyone to be finally, applauding all these corporations. No, if they genuinely cared about innovation and evolution and making sure we as a people are comfortable, both genders and all family situations, then this is, they should find ways to express that. So then obviously there's a biological clock. You want to achieve certain things in your career before you get to a certain time, and then you feel like then after a while, some people may get to the point where they have to balance. They have to choose: do I have a kid now? Do I take the next step in my career? Do I do both? These things are drawing our attention to time, because the clock is running out. But I think it's also a beautiful thing that there's a time in our lives where we can have kids, because you don't want to spend the rest of your life having children, in all honesty. Sorry, I just got a message. You don't want to spend the rest of your life having children. It's actually a perfect plan by God that you get to a certain age and you no longer have to bear children. Now you can focus on living your best life. You know how we always hear people say life begins at 30, life begins at 40, life begins at 50. Life probably does begin at... No, let me not even say that. Life has already begun. Life is now, okay? But you now experience an all new level of appreciation for life, I would say, when you get to 50, because now you can have all the sex in the world and you don't have to worry about getting pregnant. Like, that's so perfect. That is so perfect. And I'm not going to say I can't wait. Every stage of our life is something to appreciate. But yeah, I think it's a perfect plan to have menopause and have there be an end, because periods like every month, except for when you're pregnant, which is another load. Periods every month. Yeah. Yeah, just that's it. End of story. Full stop. Periods every month. And we need the emotion, the emoji with a tear, like yeah, anyway. And then there's the peer pressure. I'll say I put this together: peer and societal pressure, meaning obviously you see people getting married and having children, buying houses, doing adult things. They're all adulting well, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, should I do something? I should have done this by now. I planned on doing this by now. Maybe I should do this because everyone else is doing it. All those things. And in the moment when these things are happening, we're not aware. I don't think anybody is aware, unless we look at this objectively. I don't think anyone is aware of the fact that all these things draw our attention to time, because you're not thinking about all these things as a child. You're not thinking about a bloody job. You're not thinking about a biological clock. You're not thinking that there's peer pressure. Yes, but that's mostly like, oh, he's got a PlayStation, I want a PlayStation. There's never anything really material, And there's age shaming. That's the second to last thing. Age shaming. This is something that is very evident in the society at large, but mostly, I'll say, very uncomfortably, proudly expressed in the African community. Africans love to remind you at your big age. And I'll say Africans, not just Africans born in Africa with the African accent. Even in America, I think I saw a video online one time of some girl who was taking a drive with her grandma, and her grandma was asking her questions like, how old are you? I think she said like 35 or something, or I don't know how old she was. And she was like, and you don't have a husband? You don't have any children? Like, that's age shaming. Why is there shame? Who created all these rules? They do not exist. As long as it's not breaking the law and it's not going against humanity, a lot of these laws that are so made up are such bullshit. Like, I can't emphasize it enough, and there's no perfect way to express how much of dog shit these things are. Age shaming, like going to a club when you hit a certain age, you shouldn't be going to a club. Why? What's your business? How does it affect you when you're going, like, who, all these people that like to remind you of the biological clock, as if they can hear the biological clock ticking louder than you, as if when you get your period every month, you're not reminded of the purpose for that period. Like, it's such a waste of time, and people just want to feel good about themselves. That's one of the reasons why you should mind your business, because people should not know these things. I mean, everyone knows your age, everyone around you knows your age and whatnot, but let's not give people much more to talk about, because a lot of times it just ends in judgment. They feel like they're better than you, or you can do something better, or they compare themselves to you. I don't know how that's, but I thought that that's one of the reasons why you should mind your business. But this age shaming thing is so crap. It is so dog shit. It's so bullshit. Like, how many ways can I describe how useless this thing is? Like, everyone else can hear the biological clock ticking louder than the woman, that they need to remind her, oh, you need to get married. Where will you marry? Where will you marry? You know, Valentine is coming and you're alone. You know, I feel like when something bothers someone enough to a certain point, they will go and get something done. If let's say being single and not having a man and not having a baby, something that bothers you so much, after a certain point, you're just gonna go out and get it done. Whether you that you go to a sperm bank, or you just find the next most decent guy that approaches you and is like, you know what, let's just do it, have a baby. You don't even have to be a part of it. I got my own job. I make 6 figures on the higher end, even, you know. So yeah, that's the third, fourth, fifth thing, because there's jobs, biological clock, peer pressure, and societal pressure, but I did group them together. And then there's age shaming, and the final thing is technology. For me, my thing is technology, because I spend a lot of my time on my phone, and that is not good, because sometimes I feel like I have nothing to do when I have nothing to do on my phone. It's an awareness that I have developed, you know, over time. Especially when I was in university, I would wake up, obviously we had no time management. I couldn't care less about assignments. You know, I had no time management. I would wake up on a Saturday, scroll through Instagram I intend to scroll on Instagram for maybe 5 minutes or 30 minutes. 2 hours have gone by. Where did it go? What the actual fuck? I woke up at 10 thinking, oh, I woke up early, I'm gonna be productive today. And it's 12 o'clock. And I'll be like, oh gosh, I'm a bit tired now. It's because it's mentally draining. Then I would go back to sleep. Sometimes I would go back to sleep unless I had something to do that day, like condition my hair, which is a whole day activity. You know, sometimes I would go back to sleep, maybe wake up at 3, do the same thing again, unless something else urges my attention to get off the bed. So technology, and the funny thing is, we're scrolling through Instagram and TikTok, and even Netflix, YouTube, and some of the times, yes, they, you know, sometimes they're valuable things, they're interesting, they're educative, informative, entertaining, but they don't hold enough value. They will never hold enough value to take that much of our time. So if I'm to justify why that has taken so much of my time, I cannot, because there's no value in it. You know, so for me, technology is a main thing. I've noticed, but the thing is, I think it's such a habit, and it's always been a habit when I was younger. We've always been in front of the TV. We'll come back straight from school, primary school, to watch TV. Like, our biggest priority back then was watching the newest episode of That's So Raven on Disney Channel. Like, that was really our priorities back then. And it felt like we had an eternity. So technology is a very big thing, and what I'm doing these days, as my awareness grows and my strength grows, I'm making sure I don't switch on the TV, don't scroll through Instagram, or I make sure I do the things that I need to do first. Because I won't say that I'll never use my phone. Obviously, it's there. You need to make calls, look at email, check the weather, the news. There's so many things you can do with your phone, but to spend so many hours on it is not right. So I need to act, and one thing I'll suggest to anyone, if let's say this is something that you're struggling with, rather than focusing on just simply putting your phone down, focus on doing more things off your phone. Let the focus be going for the walk, or meeting up with friends, or doing something, rather than just simply being off your phone. Because if you do successfully get off your phone, you won't have anything to do if you haven't planned for it. So that's the one thing that I feel like I struggle with. Technology has taken so much of my time, and it's not worth it. It has its value, but it's not worth it. And I feel like, and I personally have noticed that when I don't pick up my phone, when I don't open my laptop or the TV, or it's not work, nothing that's a screen, like it feels like the time is going steady and slow. But then when we were kids, when we felt we were bored like that, we would pick up crayons, a coloring book. We would play games with each other. We're still present in the moment. But now there's so many things to grab our attention that it almost feels like a drug. Like, I just need to watch TV. Let me just have it in the background. And then before you know it, something has gotten my attention, and there I am for 2 hours, not unable to get out, but unwilling to get out because I'm so engrossed in this, and it's such a habit and it requires less effort. So that's the thing that I struggle with now. But I believe I'm making effort, the more things I do, even creating this content, it takes me a while to set up, get my makeup done by myself, set up the camera, do the recording, taking the notes, even though I had something on in the background when I was taking notes. But I know that it's not easy to go cold turkey and just get rid of a habit. I don't believe that I can do that, because I would just end up going back to it. So I'm gradually finding things to do with my time. So I'm going to do some painting. I'm going to do even if I want to post content for my page, even when I want to post content for my page, that still requires me to go online and be on Instagram. And that's the biggest trigger. It's almost like, imagine, like an alcoholic. It's like an alcoholic, going, or let's say an addict. Let's say they're going to the club to find a friend. You're going to the very thing that created this habit of yours, and it's difficult. You have to have strong will. So I always have to remain focused, but I'm not perfect in that aspect yet, because I still end up getting distracted. But that's the one thing that I focus on, and I really hope that I help you, because what takes up your time so much? Because when obviously we want to achieve all these things, we have all these wishes and dreams. So when we think about how are we spending our time, it's quite embarrassing to say I spend my time watching Netflix. And I don't want to look back on this time in my life and be sad and be angry and have regrets because I didn't put the fucking phone down, or I'm still watching Netflix. Like, those people who are even acting for these Netflix shows, they're doing their job. So it's best I go do mine, I can take breaks. I can learn a new skill. I want to learn roller skating. That's another thing. I want to learn roller skating. I haven't bought the skates yet. I will soon. But I want to learn it because I like seeing people roller skate. I feel like that's something I will enjoy. But I don't know how to balance. I've tried roller skating a couple times in the past, but like, I don't know how to balance. I'm still trying to walk, so I end up losing my track and falling. And I only fell once. But anyway, so find out which of these things, takes up your time, because something makes us feel like time is flying, and it could be a job change, but a lot of us are not willing to make these changes because it's difficult. If it's a job change, no one wants to go to a lower salary. Everybody wants more money. Some paths are very scary to take, and it's completely understandable. I'm not even judging, considering where I am at in my life. So let me just quickly recap. The reason why time flies when we're adults is because there are so many things that draw our attention to the time and to age. I have mentioned jobs, biological clock, peer pressure, age shaming, technology, and then there's the constant, I didn't even mention this, when you sign up for everything, they always ask you for your date of birth. When do they not ask you for your date of birth? Everything. And of course, in that act in and of itself might not seem like it's reminding you of the time, but it is. It's an accumulation of things all together. They remind you of the time and the passing time, how you wanted to be something when you were 27, or when you wanted to do something when you were 30, they all do it. And I just really hope that I help you find something. If there's something else that I haven't thought about, just let me know and put it in the comments, because these conversations are never over. So thank you for watching. I look forward to your feedback. Like, comment, share with everyone you know as to why you think time flies when we're adults. And it's not just a job. But anyway, thank you for watching. I am your host, Deborah Mills. Bye-bye.